Welcome to part 7 of how to play the alto saxophone. We're going to talk about how to play actual notes. And so I'm going to show you. Go ahead and turn to page 46 and 47 in your book, which is called the fingering chart. And we're going to go over a few things on those pages. Here you see on page 46, it has a diagram of your saxophone and pointing to little sections in the middle, this little thing here. So as we learned on our left hand, our left where our fingers go in one of the last videos, that correlates over to these buttons here. Okay, and then this button here correlates to your left thumb, that octave key we talked about. So those are the ones you're going to need to know first. These ones we won't learn yet, and these ones we won't learn yet. And then on your right hand, we've got these 3 buttons that correlate to lower on the saxophone, your right hand fingers, 1, 2, 3. And so the way that works is this is kind of your fingering chart. So on the actual fingering chart, the first note we're going to learn actually is this B here. So you'll notice that some of the buttons are darkened and some of the buttons are not darkened. So the darkened buttons are ones that you push with your finger, and the non-darkened buttons are ones you don't push. And you just leave your fingers lightly covering those buttons. So on the B, you see your left hand is going to cover that first finger, and everything else is going to be not pushed on that B. Okay. Then on the C, you'll see that you're going to push that second finger, not the first, and everything else is open. Now sometimes on a fingering chart, you're going to see where it says or, and then another fingering. This is what we call an alternate fingering. And in this book, we always use the first fingering unless it says otherwise in the book, or unless we talk about that otherwise. Okay. And then the last note we're going to learn is this D, and this one goes from this second finger to pushing everything down, all 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 left hand, 1, 2, 3 right hand, and your octave key to play that D. And those are the first 3 notes we're going to learn. And this is on page 47 if you want to refer back to this later. Okay, so first of all, make sure you got your instrument set up right. My neck strap's a little loose, so I'm going to tighten it up. And make sure that it's going to go in the right spot, and that you're holding your instrument correctly. You're sitting tall. Bring the instrument to you so that you can play. Try not to turn or bend or move your head some weird way in order to play it. Okay? So on page 6 of your book, we're going to talk about our first couple things there. On the top of the page, it shows you that yellow box, which shows you those notes we just went over. And then the B, the C, and the D. And then also on the top, it has a blue box that talks about your whole note and whole rest. Now, a whole note's going to get 4 counts in 4/4 time. So it's going to, if this is the tempo, it's going to go okay, 4 whole counts. So if I were to play that first note, that B, which is just your first finger, right? And I would play that, I'd go 1, 2, here I go. Okay, that's going to give me 4 counts on that note. And then it also talks about, in that blue box on top of page 6, a whole rest, which is if a note plays sound for a certain amount of time, then a rest plays silence for a certain amount of time. So a whole rest plays 4 counts of silence. Okay? So let's look at exercise number 1 in the book, and let's just try and play it. Now, as you play music, always look at the music. My stand's right here, okay? And I have music. My music's right here. So as I play, I'm going to look at those notes, and I'm going to play them. Also, I'm going to remember to do that sound at the beginning of the note where my tongue is actually going to touch the reed, and I'm going to play. So I'm going to sit tall, straighten my chair out so it's ready to go. Sit on the front half of the chair. I'm going to play exercise number 1 on page 6. You can play along with me. Ready? My neck strap slipped down a little bit. Hold on. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. a double bar there. Okay? Now I'm counting in those rests. Typically, we're just going to not say anything. We're just going to count it in our head. I'm counting out loud just to help you out a little bit. So the second exercise learns that next new note, that C. Remember that our B was first finger. Our C is going to be just second finger. Okay? So first finger B, second finger C. And then the rest of our fingers are just going to rest lightly on the spots where they go. As long as you're not pushing it down, then it's not going to cause anything. It's actually going to be better if you keep your hands on there, because eventually as we play fast notes, you're going to want to have those fingers right over those buttons. The C sounds like, notice it's a little bit higher, and if you notice on the staff, the note is up at one little step. So that means it's going to go higher. Higher on the staff, higher pitch. Let's play number 2, and you got to look at your notes, because it's not the same as number 1. 1, 2, number 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the end. There are only 3 notes and 3 rests in that exercise. Number 3 uses both the notes. So what you're going to do is you're going to get ready for the first note, which is a B, just by pushing that first button. We're not going to play and push it at the same time. We're not going to go, right? It's going to be harder to play that note if you do that. So you hold it down first, get ready to go. You're going to play, and then in the rest, we're going to switch fingers before we get to that note, and then play it. Okay, here we go. Number 3. 1, 2, here it goes. 1, 2, switch your finger. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, switch your fingers back and go. 1, 2, ready, that's the end. So we talked about how to start the note with that sound. I forgot to mention when you stop playing a note, just stop blowing air. Okay, don't stop it with the tongue, just stop blowing air. Okay, so if I were to play that C, when I get done, I just stop blowing air. Okay? Cool. Now we're going to go to number 4, which is going to have that next new note, your D. And that one is where we're going to go to all of those buttons. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, with the octave key on the back. Okay? So it's just going to go up a little bit higher. It's going to sound like this. Okay? So that's the D. And number 4 is called Watch Those Rests. That's the name of the exercise, because there's a spot where there's 2 whole rests in a row. So you got to really be watching your notes as we play along, or else you're not going to know what to play. Let's try it. Number 4. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's that extra rest. 2, 3, 4. And that's the end of the exercise. Number 5 uses all 3 notes. Okay, so you got to remember the notes. Now, work really hard to not write in the names of the notes over the notes. You have them written in for you at the top of the page. If you forget, go ahead and look up there. But work really hard to memorize the notes. Memorize where it's at on the staff, what its name is, and what buttons you push. 3 things about each note, and there are only 3 notes on these first 2 pages of Accent on Achievement, Book 1. Okay? So memorize those notes. Make yourself flashcards if you have to. Memorize the notes. It'll save you a lot of headache later on if you just memorize the notes as you learn them. Okay? So let's start with number 5. It has all of the notes. If you're confused, look them up. Ask me some questions. Let's play it now. Here we go. 1, 2, number 5. Here we go. 1, 2. Switch your fingers. Go. 1, 2. Switch the D. Here we go. 2, switch back to the C, go. 1, 2, last note, the B, go. Okay, so really easy. It's just in those rests, you just switch the fingers to the next note. Look at the notes as you play. Look at the rests as you play. Know where we're at. Okay, now let's go to number 6. The number 6 is where we start adding some new things. It's a little different. Number 6, we're playing 2 notes, one right after another, so there's no rest in between. So how do we do that? Well, you actually already know how to do that because we practiced that. Or, okay, so the only difference here is we're holding the first note instead of just a little bit of sound, da, 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 we're holding it for a longer sound. Ta, ta. Okay, but we're doing the same thing. We're not stopping our air. We're not re-blowing the note. We're just interrupting the sound for a second. So it'd go something like. Okay, and so that's how we start on number 6. Only this number 6 starts with a D. Okay, so we're going to start with a D. We're going to play those 2 notes, and it goes to a C, then it goes to a B. So play along with me. Here we go. Number 6. 1, 2, lots of air. Breathe. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Okay? So make sure, now if you're running out of air, well, just take more air when you start. And that's really simple. It's really important to take lots of air, so you have a lot of airflow to be able to play those notes. Also, make sure that you are really memorizing those notes. Don't write them in. Okay, memorize the notes. Right now it's only 3 different notes, right? We have the B, first finger, C, second finger, and the D, all your fingers with the thumb. Okay, so with these fingers too. Okay, that's the D. So real easy, just 3 things to remember. Remember the names of the notes, where they're at on the staff, and the fingerings for it. Okay, it's really important you remember all those things. You remember and that you're learning, so that we can speak musically to one to another. So that when you have a question about a note, instead of saying, hey, I don't know this note, you can say, how do you play the A again? Or how do you play the B or the C or the D? And I can answer that. Or you were talking about measures and bar lines, and we're speaking musically so we can help each other out and learn new things. Okay? Our next video, we're going to go over just a few more new things, and it's the last one in the series, so join me for that one, and hope you're catching right along.